Americans represent 5% of the world's total population, yet own 50% of the total guns on Earth. There are an estimated 310 million non-military firearms in the United States. This works out to roughly one gun for every man, woman, and child in America. There are more guns in the United States than there are registered vehicles on the roads. In 2010, there were 242 million registered vehicles in the U.S. In 2001, 20,844 people suffered gunshot wounds that required a hospital stay. In 2011, the figure increased to 30,759. It seems that all discussion involving gun control comes back to the Second Amendment of the Constitution. Those who support gun rights often cite it as proof of what this country's founding fathers intended. It includes the language, a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The language has created considerable debate about the amendment's intended scope. In 1939, the U.S. Supreme Court considered the matter in United States v. Miller. The court adopted a collective rights approach in this case, determining that Congress could regulate the National Firearms Act of 1934. In 2008, the Supreme Court revisited the issue in the case of District of Columbia v. Heller. The plaintiff challenged the Washington, D.C. handgun ban, a statute that stood for 32 years. In a 5-4 decision, the court ruled that the Second Amendment established an individual right for U.S. citizens to possess firearms and struck down the D.C. ban as a violation of that right. The court continued to strengthen the Second Amendment through the 2010 decision in McDonald v. City of Chicago. The plaintiff challenged the Chicago handgun ban, which prohibited handgun possession by almost all private citizens. In a 5-4 decision, the court held that the Second Amendment also applies to the states. In December of 2012, a federal appeals court ruled that the Illinois ban on concealed weapons was unconstitutional and gave the state 180 days to come up with a new law that allows Illinois citizens to carry concealed weapons. In recent years, Chicago has made national as well as international headlines for the ongoing gun violence impacting the city. Chicago, or Chirac as it has been referred to, regained the infamous title as the murder capital of America in 2012 with over 500 murders, the vast majority the result of gun violence. Despite the daily occurrence of gun violence and the impact on the youth, over 550 killed since 2008, it took the massacre at Sandy Hook Elementary School in December of 2012 to ignite the national debate on gun control. In response to the Sandy Hook massacre, President Obama established a new gun violence task force to search for new policy proposals for reducing gun violence. Obama called on Congress to pass legislation that would close the gun show loophole and require universal background checks, limit high-capacity ammunition clips. Despite numerous high-profile mass shootings in 2012, each of Obama's gun control proposals were defeated in Congress, reinforcing the fact that despite numerous recent national tragedies involving gun violence, America, more so than any other nation on earth, continues its love affair with guns. With the new conceal and carry law on the way, which will inevitably lead to more guns on the streets of Chicago, should we expect more gun violence in Chirac? Or as supporters of gun rights suggest, will the new law that allows residents to protect themselves lead to a drop in gun violence?